Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we are on the dev server having a look at the MiG-29. The MiG-29 is coming in the next major update, Apex Predators, and the version that you see on the dev server may make it to live or may not, depending on some player feedback. The vehicle itself is looking incredibly strong. By the way, the flight model of this, nowhere near finished. Like, it has a lot of issues with it. I've run into a ton of problems with it, especially the way that it deals with overload. It's as if it has like this weird rocking effect, so it's nowhere near done. But the main thing that is in contention is, of course, its secondary armaments, because that's what people are more interested in. The MiG-29 is powered by two engines, the good old Klimov RD-33s, which give it a ridiculous amount of afterburning thrust. The rest of it is made, of course, of fuel, since this is a gas guzzler, and it has one pilot here, which has access to all of the bells and whistles, and a radar, which also has access to ridiculous amounts of stuff. This thing also has a new system in it, the good old HDM system, which we'll get into and talk about as we display it. It also has access to a 30mm, the GSH-31. It has 150 rounds of ammunition and should be enough to annihilate some stuff. Also has a pretty gnarly sound attached to it, which we'll get into. There is no armor on it, at least as of now, and modification-wise, you can see it's pretty standard. So it has access to a ton of different missiles, it has the countermeasures, it gets 60 of them overall right now. We'll see if that changes, but I don't think it will. The countermeasures are actually modeled on the vehicle when it comes to it, somewhere on the back. I can't remember exactly where they are, but they always look nice. I think it's these maybe. But anyway, the vehicle itself, it has a lot of like animations, so you'll see later on when we look at it, these actually open when it takes off. These also close when it takes off or goes above a certain speed. It's got a really cool air brake in the back, and also a really cool gear system as well, and also takeoff flaps. It is not variably swept, so the wings stay exactly where they are, so you don't have to, worry about that or trying to control it. But at the same time, the secondaries here is what you will have to control. The vehicle has access to some really powerful missiles. It first of all gets R60Ms, which are the all-aspect R60s. These are standard pretty much on all Soviet-esque vehicles at the top tier of the game now, including the MiG-23s, which all have access to them, plus, of course, the MiG-21s. It also gets access to the R-73. Now, the R-73 is the upgrade of the R-60. It has better overload, it has a ridiculous launch range. The only thing it doesn't have as high is the missile guidance time of only 23 seconds, but these things still motor. They have very good acceleration on them, and also the main thing is the overload. So these are perfect dogfighting missiles. If you're looking for something which needs a little bit more oomph behind it, you have the R-27s. You have an IR version, which has an all-aspect lock of 6 kilometers. It also has a missile guidance time of 60 seconds, so the same as the AIM-9L, and also 30G overload on it. There is also the R-27R, which is the semi-active radar homing version, AIOG, and also DL as well, which has the same stats. It's just a different guidance system on them. So the T is also slightly less in mass, which is interesting to see. So there's obviously some different internals going on with them. The main thing, though, I feel like people are going to run like 4 R-73s and then 2 R-27Rs, or they'll run 2 R-27Ts and 4 R-73s, depending on the situation. But yeah, these missiles are very strong, and they're just going to be nuts. I don't know how else to put it. These are up there with the best dogfighting missiles in the game. Obviously, you have the Magic 2s in the game, but these are a step above just because of the all-aspect lock that it has and the length, and also the other stuff or the other characteristics we'll get into. It does have some limited secondary weapons, so it has some rockets, some bombs, and also some other rockets and incendiaries. Doesn't have any guided munitions. This is much more of an air superiority fighter compared to other machines in general. So let's just kind of show you one thing about the R73, and it is how you can kind of use the seeker head in a way, or track the targets. By the way, if you have a look at the front there, you can see the air intakes, which are closed, and they're open at the top and then closed at the bottom, and as we accelerate, the bottom ones will open, as you can see, and then the top ones will close, which I just think is a really nice little animation. There's a lot of vehicles which have really nice little animations this time on this setup, which is just really cool. So one of the things that you can do with this, let's just get the R73, is you can move the what would be classed as the seeker. So this means that if a target is anywhere in this radius, no matter where you're going, if you're pulling this way, you can actually target the thing here. And I'll give you a demonstration on what I mean. So you see the vehicles over there. Let's say we're like going this way, target's on, bang. And you can fire missiles and throw them off while going in different directions. So this means that you can focus on hitting one target. So let's say we're looking at that dude. So you can do that, and then you can turn and do that, and there you go. So this is going to be an interesting setup. I feel like something like this is not necessarily going to be used to full effect all the time. That is definitely something to point out. This is not an easy or going to be an easy system to do, because you're going to have to focus on multiple things at the same time. But if you're going into a dogfight area, like, you know, after a fight has started, you can go bang, and then 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 you can go like that, and then get out, right? So you can you can pretty much just go in a straight line and just bang, 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 and then kind of move from there, right? And that is kind of nuts. So yeah, the overall maneuverability of this thing, I don't think is actually that good right now. It feels quite stiff in the air, and also, as I said, I'm having a few issues when it comes to its flight model. There's no way it's finished. It is an incredibly fast vehicle. It burns through fuel very quickly. Yeah, did you see that there? It was doing like a weird pull, and that's something that I've run into a lot with this vehicle. It does like a half pull. You see here, I have like the elevator fully down, but it's not pushing itself properly. So there's something weird going on. It's also going to be a huge heat. It's going to be a huge heat target with these two engines. So you're going to have to, you know, pull them off and then flare quite aggressively to move forward. But that's okay. You got a ton of flares, and also you have this gun. Now I haven't actually fired this gun yet, you know, on the video. So just have a listen. Pretty nice, right? Pretty beautiful sound of a gun. And not too shabby indeed. So yeah, it's not too bad. The thing about the F-16 and the MiG-29 is I feel like I'm going to be asked maybe at least 1,000 times over the next few weeks, which one do I think is better, which one do I think is like the best out of them. And the simple answer for me is, at this moment in time, the MiG-29 is better in more scenarios than the F-16. I think in a dogfight, in a close turnfight scenario, which is gun-based, the F-16 wins. In every other scenario, the MiG-29 wins. And that can obviously change quite a lot, because of the simple fact that we do not have access to everything that we know is coming in. This also has TWS mode. It has Search PD HDN, which is of course the head display, which we talked about before with the search thing, and it has all of the other things that you would want on it. So the R27Rs are going to be pretty good. just as another thing as well, by the way. So that is one thing this has over the F-16. It does have semi-active radar homings, where the F-16 doesn't. The F-16 is much more based around, of course, the close quarter IR capabilities, so you got to watch out for that. But for me, when it comes to this, I would definitely say the vehicle that I am most worried about at high tier is this one. It's definitely a step up. There is no way to say it any other way. This thing is just going to be a monster. It really is. And you can see even the AIs are somehow faster than this thing, even though this thing is just crazy quick. So we're gonna have to see what goes on with it. They even crashed into each other. But my feeling is we have seen, obviously, a new evolution in the game. Not just in the form of the F-16, which gets a lot of similar things from before, not just in the form of stuff like the... Not just in stuff like the form of the good old Panavia Tornado, but you have this machine, which is coming in as a real barnstormer. I'm looking forward to seeing how it does. I'm also very worried to see how it does as well. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day. And I'll see you next time. Missiles can miss. I'd like to thank Forge, Siegebreak, Carrion Crow, Nicholas Richardson, Elove Goat, Pyman, Winter Scientist, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, and also Sem Arslan, Wilkski, Uncle Bean, Derek R., Bareen, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.